So, let's talk about the missing scientists and beyond that, David Wilcock. But as I started remote viewing this information, it was so clear that there is so much more going on than just these missing scientists. Like, we're talking like massive, massive global shifts that are occurring right now as we're talking. Bigger than we've ever seen it before. It's exciting, it's scary, it's everything in between. I wanted to remind you that I do these videos because I want to present the information in a way that you're informed to make your own conclusions and decisions. And then also that information will lead you into a place of empowerment so that if and when shit goes down, you're already informed so that you don't have to be in fear, right? Because I've thought about it myself. I could talk about anything. I could get into literally just about anything, right? And although my passion is spirituality and consciousness and raising your vibration and even extraterrestrials and definitely quantum mechanics, sometimes we have to get into the nitty gritty. Sometimes we have to get into sort of the agendas and the conspiracies in order to neutralize the frequency around them, okay? So that's why I dive into these topics. If you want to know more about the third eye, consciousness, the fifth dimension, the new earth frequency, or if you want to know more about reptilians and the royal family and cloning and quantum mechanics and everything in between, I have covered all of those other topics on my website. Okay, I only limit YouTube to a certain amount of videos for many reasons, mostly for safety. Okay, if you can't find it on YouTube, it is absolutely on my website. All you have to do is type into the search engine whatever you're interested in. I've remote viewed Taylor Swift, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Okay, if you're interested in that stuff, it's all right there for you, whatever that spectrum looks like for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the missing scientists, a little bit about David Wilcock, but ultimately, we're going to be talking about where the world is right now behind the scenes. And like I said, it's massive. It's shifting. Before I deep dive into it, and I have a lot of notes, that might be a bit of a longer video, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Check out my other social media platforms as well. Like this video, share this video for anyone else who may be interested, okay? Okay, so the biggest thing that came through when I was taking a look at this, and so a couple days ago, I remote viewed David Wilcock, and yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that, how do I say this? Not all remote viewing information is like, it turns into sort of validating the conspiracy. And what I saw with him was that it was his own decision, but it was influenced by the darker elites. I had someone who was very close to David reach out to me and validate what it was that I saw on a number of different levels. It doesn't really matter, right? If it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. But what I saw is that the elites have a technology, and this really brings up this can of worms, open a can of worms with this greater discussion of what kind of technology are they using and how are they using it, and how does this really push the boundaries on things like free will and non-intervention? It's a whole discussion. But here's what I saw with David. That the elites were targeting him for quite some time. That specifically they were targeting his mindset. Okay? And what I saw, so it was more of a visual, but they were able to influence the frequencies around him, like some sort of energy weapon or frequency weapon, and the frequencies around him were giving him very negative thoughts. This had been going on for a long time, and I don't know if it just hit a breaking point or if they turned up the pressure on the manipulation of the thoughts and the frequencies. Now, I do believe that if you have a very strong mind, you cannot be influenced by these technologies. Whether they're more scientific technologies or spiritual technologies, I'm not sure. But it was very clear that they have the ability to target an individual and to manipulate the frequencies around that individual, especially if you're struggling yourself. So, yeah, I mean, was it him? Was it not him? It's a little bit of both. And sometimes that's just what the information is. That's just what I got. Take it or leave it, okay? When I was remote viewing David Wilcock, it was really interesting because I also wanted to see the connection between him and these missing scientists. And there is a connection, not in a necessarily like direct way of like, oh, they were all working together. In fact, when I first remote viewed the missing scientists, there were only 3 missing at the time. This was a couple months ago. And what I saw was that there was actually a group of 5 of these scientists who were all working in tandem together, secretly, but also together on certain projects. I saw a lot of like technological advancement, whether it's like anti-gravity, propulsion technology, or like free energy technology, but it was a lot of sciencey stuff, and it had to do with space and time. So there was a group of 5. So that's what I saw many months ago when I first just tapped into it, was that at the time there were only 3. I saw a group of 5 that were working together, and that the other 2 were also going to be targeted and taken out. We are now, in May, right, May 11th, we are now at, I want to say 11 missing scientists, all under weird and different circumstances. And so what I saw is that they were all specifically taken out. They were taken out by the shadow government in different ways to try and ease the suspicion, okay? Now, although David Wilcock was not necessarily directly a part of that smaller organization of the 5 of them, he was one of these victims and he was one of these targets. He was a targeted individual, okay? So this kind of leads to this broader perspective, and this is what I wrote down: controlling the threat to big industries. So there is a massive push right now in 2026 that the shadow government has. Like, their biggest initiative right now, other than fear and control and like different agendas, and we're going to talk about those too in this video, but one of their biggest sort of initiatives is to take out individuals who are direct threats to the biggest industries. So what I'm saying here is that these missing scientists are just the tip of the iceberg, and that there are actually many other people across different industries that are all also disappearing, taking their own life, or otherwise, just some freak weird accidents, okay? Here's what I saw. So the science industry is what we're looking at, but big pharma is another big part of it. Big energy, so we're talking oil, but we're also talking like resources as well. I don't know why like the lumber industry came up, and like solutions to lumber. It could be like a huge hemp organization or something. I don't know why also, but fertility came up. So these big organizations and industries and institutions. Anyone within these big institutions and organizations, like big finance as well, who are coming out with solutions to the old industries, who are pushing for a change, are all being directly targeted right now. Now, this leads me to this bigger picture when it comes to the shadow government and then the white hats. And I gotta just, if you're new to my channel, let me explain. Behind sort of these illusionary lines, right, on the map, right? There's countries, there's states, there's presidents, there's royal family members. None of those people are actually controlling the planet, right? This entire planet is being controlled by a very small group of individuals who I like to call the shadow government. Within sort of that umbrella of the shadow government, we have the Illuminati, we have all these other sort of skull and bone organizations. There's a ton of other organizations that are within that shadowy government, okay? And, it goes on and on. And the, celebrities, influential figures, politicians, a lot of the people who are very, very high up within influence are a part of this shadowy organization, okay? But they're not in control. All right, cool. We've established that. Obviously, just side note, at the top of the shadow government are like reptilian shapeshifters, right? So like literally this whole world is being run by like non-humans, which is so not right, but things are changing. Then, fascinatingly enough, I met this group about, I want to say 2 years ago now. I mean, what is time? But let's say roughly 2 years ago. I met the other side. I don't know why it took me so long to meet them. It is the shadow government, but for the good guys, okay? A lot of people call them the white hats, the white hat organization or the white hat government. I wouldn't even call them a government, more of an organization. They said they like to be called the collective, okay? So I'll call them the white hats for the most part, just because that's what people typically reference them as. And they have like hackers, like white hat hackers in that group and organization. And so what happens is, so this white hat organization and group, they have been slowly infiltrating these systems and industries over a very long period of time in order to sort of fight back. You know what? Maybe it was longer than 2 years ago that I met them. I don't know why 2021 comes up. And now I'm like, that was a long time ago. But I remember, and I want to say it was 2021. I was talking to them and they said that we have individuals positioned within all systems of the planet, like not just here in the USA, like all across the planet, okay? They are like a smaller group than the shadow government, so they don't have a lot of people or resources, but it's surprisingly big for what it is. They said that they had people positioned, right, across all industries and networks, but that it wasn't time to act yet. It wasn't time, like it wasn't safe enough, because if they even remotely exposed themselves, they would be taken out, okay? I'm just trying to give you an update on the white hats. Okay, so then today I wanted to talk to the white hats about what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on with the scientists, what they can tell me about this. And it was pretty wild. So I go out of my body, right? I leave, I go remote view their sort of North American headquarters. So they have like basically their own underground military bases all across the planet, like these top secret hidden bases. I ended up finding one, or I guess being drawn to one or led to one. And so I went back there today, and to my surprise, it was completely vacant. And not only was it vacant, but there were forces, let's say, that were around the outside of this base, right? I immediately knew something was wrong. I had cloaked myself. I always do like an invisibility, especially when I'm going to that location. So I was, obviously at this empty facility wondering what happened. And then I was led to a different location, okay? It was close, but also far away. And my first question, did I even write it down? Yeah, okay, given permission. So my first question was like, okay, clearly something happened here at your main facility or headquarters. Why am I allowed to see where you guys ended up? Because you're clearly hiding from these forces. And they told me that I have, how do I put this? It's kind of like you're on a guest list is how it works, I guess. That's how they explained it. That my frequency has the ability to see where they ended up. I was just curious. I'm like, you guys have moved your facility. You're trying to be secretive about it, but you're clearly not, because I can see it. And they basically said that I was given permission to see where they ended up. So I guess this just recently happened. So these are the notes that I wrote down. They had to move facilities, underground support systems. That was fascinating. I saw this, not the same, but similar underground infrastructure that the shadow governments use all over the world. Like we're talking like light rail transits and like full transportation systems underground. And that's what the white hats also use as well. Obviously their own systems, but Anyway, I was given permission to see their new location, and they were under attack. So essentially, I don't know how long ago this was. I didn't ask them, but very recently, I don't remember the last time I remote viewed them. Must have been maybe 6 to 8 months ago. Or was it in the GFL summit? Oh man, time is weird. Anyway, so they were under attack. They got found out, and their whole facility, like their main base, got attacked. All right, so there is an individual that I communicate with who is a part of this White Hat Alliance, or this, the collective, okay? His name is Roger. Don't ask me, I don't know. The first thing, so I go over to Roger in this like alternative base, okay, that they're in. The first thing he tells me is, you need to be careful. So he tells me this, right? And I had to kind of stop my conversation with him, right? I left him and I went over to the Galactic Federation, specifically to Kinetic and the Security Council. And I had to ask them, there's a lot going on right now. The missing scientists, basically the shadow governments are pushing hard on eliminating any threat. So I went over there. I'm like, you know what? If I don't ask now, like I will not ask. And so I went over to the GFL and I asked, like, am I safe? Like Roger is literally telling me that like, I need to be really careful. How safe am I? Because sometimes I push the boundaries and I can be a little overconfident in what I'm sharing and in my own safety. So what did they say? Went to the GFL Council. Yeah, so here's what they said. They said that I was on their radar, there being the shadow government, that I was on their radar, but I wasn't detected, I guess, as a direct threat yet. Okay. The Galactic Federation, Kinetic, said they will keep me safe, right? And I know that, but they also said, which was fascinating, that the information I talk about, it's not verified, so that also keeps me safe. Never really thought about that. But they were saying that the information that I disclose is being disclosed in other places across the internet, but other people are disclosing it because they're whistleblowers or because they have declassified documents or information, or they were able to get insider details, and it's verifiable, if that makes sense. So Kinetic basically said that because what I do is like, hey guys, here's some information, and I'm not directly threatening, I guess, the money that they're making or the control around resources or, you know, an invention to a new solution that they don't want out there, right? So I'm not considered a direct threat yet. There was something that came up, it looked like in a couple of years from now, that might be a bit of a safety issue, but yeah, and then safer than whistleblowers is what I wrote down. So anyway, I had to like divert from Roger for a second and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Do I even do this video? Like, right? Anyway, so yeah, I did get confirmation, but that was fascinating to see like who is considered a threat right now. And people who are either verified, releasing verifiable information that goes against the system and the power and the control, or people who are creating new solutions that are a threat to the current systems of power, control, and money, right? Anyway, that was interesting. Okay, so then I went back to Roger, right? Oh yeah, okay. So I have to give you an update. It was in December where I had a conversation with the White Hats. So what is that? That's 4 months, 5 months, 6 to 8 months. Okay, it was in December that I had a conversation with them. And what they told me was that they sent out a message to pretty much like these Illuminati members or shadow government members. And it was the White Hat hackers that sent this message out to them. And the message read something to the effect of, walk away or we will expose you. And the implication is you need to step back and walk away from the shadow government, or we're going to expose the truth. And so, funny enough, one of my predictions for the new year, for 2026, was we are going to have a mass amount of people, like we're talking CEOs, presidents, like politicians, celebrities, like just stepping out of the limelight or stepping out of their position because of this message, right? Because the White Hats released that message in December, there has been a huge retaliation from the shadow government. And it's like there was a couple of months where it was pretty quiet, and now it's like the shadow government is just pushing and pushing and pushing. The other thing that I saw was that they're pushing forward the one world order. That's what they really want, right? That's what the shadow government wants. They want complete and utter control, depopulation, fear, all around, the population of the planet. Interestingly enough, it seems like the shadow government just simply can't agree on the best strategy. So no one's really coming together saying, this is what we need to do next. They're all over the place right now. Yes. So then I sort of asked, I'm like, what's their intention, right? Their intention is looking to create the most amount of fear with the least amount of pushback, right? Because they know that they've pushed before and we've pushed back. Okay. One of the things that I saw with the shadow government, along with targeting the individuals who are deemed as a threat, is that they're changing the algorithms and using AI for misinformation. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm not even going to contemplate. I also want to mention that there's a lot of double agents right now, double agents on both sides. So there's basically shadow government members that have tried or have infiltrated the white hat communities. And then there are white hat, basically agents, individuals who have infiltrated the shadow government organizations. So there's just a lot of double agents and a lot of pushback. Roger also mentioned that there's chaos that needs to happen before the breakdown of the old systems. And that's sort of where we're at right now, is just full-blown chaos before the breakdown. Oh my God, I can't even read my own writing. Oh my God. Yeah, so I asked Roger specifically, I said, are you worried at all? Are you worried at all? Like, literally, your base just got attacked. You had to flee. Scientists, other members are being taken out. Are you worried? And then he said, no, this was all to be expected. Then I said, do you have enough resources to fight back? He said, it'll be enough when humanity can stand up and fight with us. I thought that was pretty profound. So then I asked him about the scientists. Are they targeting anyone they believe... I asked him about the scientists, and this is what he said. They are targeting anyone they believe works for us and anyone they deem as a threat, which once again is what we kind of just talked about. But also they're targeting people who they think work for the White Hats, right? The collective. He also said the science is safe, which is fascinating. I didn't even ask about their science, I guess. He said the science is safe. We have it all in our possession. So then I asked, so were the scientists working for you? Like, were they working for the White Hats, right? And he said some of them were, yes. And then I asked, will the world ever know what actually happened to them? And he said, most likely not, when it comes down to the scientists. So if you guys are really interested in what is happening right now, there's a much bigger theme, right, than just these missing scientists. And what I recommend is, I haven't done this research because I literally just want to keep my channels as pure as possible, but I highly recommend do research Are there people who were curing cancer that went missing? Are there individuals that were making breakthroughs on plastics in oceans that have gone missing? Are there people who are having cures to fertility issues that are going missing or having a sudden accident or what have you? The most important takeaway here is that, what is the most important takeaway? It's a lot bigger than just the scientists. This is all a part of their strategy and plan. Of course, they're going to be targeting and taking out individuals who are a threat to the New World Order. And ultimately, we need to take a huge step back and realize that there are not just one, but many timelines where we've already won, where we've already stepped into the light, where we already have these new Earth solutions to things like disease and environment and free energy, okay? Right now, it's important for all of us to focus on the reality that we want to collectively create. Not to mention all of the threats, right, that are being taken out, but the amount of psychic attacks that are happening on planet Earth right now are insane. Like the average everyday person is just getting totally psychically attacked, whether in their dreams or through another person. Could be a random person on the street that just throws their drink at you or something, you know? It's like, or it could be very personal from someone that you love or thought you loved, you know? It's entities that are stepping through people. Like I said, I have so many psychic attack videos on my website, so go and check all of those out if you are getting psychically attacked and you need a little bit of help and assistance. I also have a friend of mine, Sharma, who does entity removal. She does reptilian stuff. I get her to work on me all the time, especially in times of attack. We just need to realize that the light, okay, right now is expanding so rapidly that we are trudging up all the darkness. We are shining a light into all of these sort of dark hidden facets of the world. And so all the spooky goblins and terrible entities and shadow government figures, they're scared. And what happens when they're scared is they try as much as they can to push back and to bring us down. So what I recommend is, great, you have the information. You can keep furthering the information if you want the validation that other people are going missing and having issues in other industries. But don't waste your time and energy any more than maybe even this video to say, okay, that's happening. It's all happening for a reason. It's terrible, yes. But what is the best case scenario for the planet? What is the best case scenario for my own life? What does true happiness look like? What does true abundance look like for the world? If we can keep our focus, our conscious mind focused on that, then we're winning the battle. Actually, we're winning the war. All right. Thank you guys so much, as always, for being here. Today is the release of my Galactic Federation Summit. So if you want to know how to get connected with extraterrestrials and the Galactic Federation and make real visceral contact with them, you don't want to miss Season 2026, Episode 5 with the Galactic Federation. Thank you all. Until next time.